Shut off.
There, I got a email that we need to add to the bridge folder. I tried to forward it to you and it gave me that stupid undeliverable whatever again, and I was doing all right for a while, but just gave it to me again. So when we get done, it's just add to that folder, please. We'll do it after, it's not, it'll be for tomorrow.
Okay.
Good to go? Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome to the Town of Pownell Select Board Meeting, July 23rd, 2026 at 6:01 PM. I'll call the meeting to order. Board member roll call.
Julie Weber. Amy Alexander.
Mike Gardner.
Carl Strohmeyer.
Amy Percy.
All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the agenda. We need to add.
Hernandez.
What?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, we need to add Michael Hernandez, representing the Conservation District. So where does that look good? I'm gonna keep Michael here on that one.
We can do it after, this is FEMA,
Yeah,
isn't the FEMA security grant, we're taking that off anyway, right?
yep.
So we can
Right.
put it right there in place of that.
10.
Yeah. We are deleting item 10 off the agenda. Anyways. Any other changes to the agenda? I'll entertain a motion to approve it.
A motion to approve with a change of 10 from the removal of FEMA grant to Mr. Hernandez and the conservation.
I have a motion.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Public comment. Will you just come up, Bonnie, please, state your name. I know who you are, but. Watch this, watch this.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, please, Bonnie, thank you.
Just quickly, I was just wondering if we can do bridge discussion, a public comment on the bridge discussion right after the bridge discussion at 8, rather than waiting to you to go through your whole meeting and then do public comment at the end. Because maybe there's some people here that just are here for the bridge and not for anything else. That way, it won't interfere in the rest of your meeting.
What's your pleasure?
I don't have a problem.
I don't have a problem.
No, that sounds good.
We can open up public comment after we discuss the bridge on just bridge discussion then.
And I may not have anything to comment on.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Can do that.
Thank you so much.
Think fine. Anything else, Kate?
No one else thinks they're here, right? So also.
No more public comment? Okay, minutes of July 9th, 2026 special select board meeting.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Warrants. Accounts payable July 17th, $10,605.08.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion?
I do. I have a question. Can you explain the 2 no-through truck signs and where are they going to be placed in town?
No through trucks?
Yep.
Those
There's
are,
2 purchased for 18 by 24 that says no through truck signs. Then there was 2 for the 1-lane bridge. And then a speed, so I'm just curious
on North Pownell Road and one at the 346 entrance and one at the Route 7 entrance, I
For
believe.
the one lane one, but where?
No, the no through trucks. The no through trucks are for North Pownell Road, I believe, one on 346 entrance and one on the Route 7 entrance. The one lane bridge signs were obviously,
Right,
and I just went down there tonight, they are plenty visible for anyone to see
on both, all the way.
on both sides. Yeah, I went across the bridge and turned around in Craig's driveway. So.
Was you on the camera?
Well, I turned around there, I can tell you that for free, so I don't know if it was me on your camera. Any more discussion on that? All those in favor? Opposed? Accounts payable July 24th, $28,937.28.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Payroll July 17th, $11,741.99.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Payroll July 24th, $12,660.44.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, Main Street Bridge, continued discussion. Joel, you want to come up? We have a meeting scheduled tomorrow. With. Jonathan Cooper, Seth Baumgartz, and Rob Plunkett, I believe. Tara, Jeannie, and myself and Joel. To discuss. Trying to get a bridge from. Vermont Department of Transportation. I think the select board has. Made it clear. That. I don't think we've had a formal vote, but I think just in our general conversation sitting in this room, in an open meeting and can't wait under cameras. And we have made it clear that we are ready to move forward with having the site work done for a temporary bridge. So now we have to find a temporary bridge from the state. I mean, we have to formally approve that as well. But we have, in general, we've made that statement. And the meeting tomorrow, I hope it goes according to plan, but who knows, hopefully. We have received some letters from different businesses. We received some letters from our emergency services, our fire departments concerning the bridge. We have compiled some signatures from residents in the town and not just residents that are on the west side of the bridge. Some of these people who have signed these petitions live in other parts of town. So they have kind of bonded together, I guess for lack of a better term, to express their concern about the bridge and getting services to people who live on the west side. That's it in a nutshell. Joel, do you have anything you want to add? Jeannie, anybody for that matter?
Well, do you want to go on Daniel's letter rather than, trying to keep getting And that's all right, Tara's done a lot of work on it. We may get somebody in the meantime, but just move forward with this.
So we have a letter from Daniels. I don't know if it's Daniels Construction or I don't know remember the technical name of the company. They were inquiring about the RFP that we had placed and why we needed one, because they don't need an engineer for the work that they would be if they were hired,
Yes.
right? So when we clear about that, they wouldn't need an engineer for the work that they would be performing. We still need a hydrology study done. And we would need an engineer which I think we need to move forward with. We need an engineer for a new bridge. That would be beyond their scope of what they would be doing and completing.
I think they also said that they have in-house engineers. So it's not like there are no engineers involved, but they have in-house engineers should an issue arise to the temporary bridge.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
All the piers and stuff will be built to state specs.
Mhm.
That was in his letter, I believe.
We would need that, whether we went with them or with the DOT.
Yeah.
Temporary.
They also use V-Trans approved subcontractors.
So,
I do believe we're gonna need, well, we definitely need an engineer. For the new bridge. Yeah, for the design, for the placement and all of that stuff. We need a hydrology study done anyways. Like no matter what, even for a new bridge, we would need a hydrology study, so we need to move forward with that. So.
Can I make a request of the board? Can Joel or I call independent engineer firms to see if they will take it on? As far as the H&H study and just overall project management?
I think as far as the new bridge goes, it's fine, but with our temporary bridge, which I think we want to get moving on, if we've got a statement from Daniels and we don't have a reason to disbelieve it, for the $389,000 will include everything.
I don't think
Doesn't
so.
include the
No, it
rental
doesn't.
of the bridge.
No.
Because if you,
Don't. have a
It
bridge.
does.
One at a time.
Everything necessary to construct the temporary bridge except for two items, right? So we've got that, but what it does include is their in-house engineers, should they need them.
Right, but in-house engineers are focused on the way they want to do the project. And an independent firm looks at the bigger picture. And gives factual information and doesn't.
Yeah, I read the email.
I don't think that their in-house engineers are going to like mislead and not follow their professional guidelines.
Saying, I'm not suggesting that, suggesting that they're going on. Whoever decided the bridge was gonna go to the south side of the existing bridge. They're going on that direction rather than being given factual.
After the hydraulic.
Here, and it's like after the hydraulic study or after we have this information, then that decision should be made, not this is where we want it.
Just feel like if there's an issue with that from their engineers, that's part of the reason we would hire them, would be able to speak up and say, we have an issue here.
But I think they're gonna survey the site ahead of time anyhow, if it's not sufficient. I would say,
But they can't do the H&H study, right? Or can't.
No,
no,
not the hydraulic study and.
and I have to. According to this one email that it says to construct, it's the 389.5, correct? It's according to this one, it says to construct the temporary bridge. The one prior for the same price is assemble and install. Okay, so then Acro or Acro that was attached to that email a while back is saying the 180-foot bridge is 952,000. So is that 952,000 added to that 389?
That 952,000 is if we would have to buy a bridge.
and actually, that's not a correct figure.
According to the paper.
Or the 13.6, which is the extra wide.
13 feet, 6 wide.
Yeah, that was the extra wide, the standard single lane is 12 feet. but the sale price is $874,200.
Right.
That's the sale price. If we wanted to rent it, it's $175,400 for the first 4 months and $18,900 a month after. So, we'd be looking about $326,600 for the first year. That's just for the bridge.
Right.
And then it'd be $226,800 a year after. That's why we cannot afford that. That's,
I'm going by what the state recommended. The state recommended with the structures grant, we could use an engineer to look at the existing structure. If we can't afford a town bridge, that might be our only option to fix that to get us through a few years. But if we don't have an engineer looking at the big picture, how do we know what our options are? We
I think
feel that we don't have a clear picture of what our options actually are.
regardless of the fact, even if we fix the existing bridge to get it by this winter, we're still, I'd have to put some more plates down. And you'd have to put a couple inches of blacktop over top of it so you could plow it and.
Which also should require an engineer to determine what the low grading should be.
Well, yeah, the load rating, we're at
Right.
24, we're at actually 18 now. And if you're gonna put more steel and blacktop on it, we're gonna be which isn't gonna help the cause for getting fuel trucks and stuff to them people.
That goes back to Jason's letter as well. Again, like we said, we have multiple letters and concerns from fire chiefs at this point. But if you, even he addressed that directly, even if you do add additional metal plates to it, the concern was, is that bridge gonna hold under all of that weight? So I think from an emergency services perspective, at least from what we're hearing right now, that doesn't sound like a good solution to them either.
Yeah, that was.
The structural repairs weren't made before the things were put on. The pier wasn't in place and the shack wasn't repaired. They placed
So I think we need a temporary bridge.
But what you're saying as far as looking for somebody for project manager and engineer, because we need them for the pre-work. I feel that strong enough that you should be looking at that. We should be supporting that.
I don't feel like anybody here is doing it.
We don't have,
Definitely not.
no, we don't have the expertise sitting at the table.
Or do we have the money to, do we have that let's say in a great world state, it's like, we have this bridge and it's gonna be free. Do we have the money, the 389?
That's the other issue. I mean, I hope that the state's gonna come forward. I don't think it's gonna cost as much as Daniels is, but that's an option
For what?
for a temporary bridge.
Well, that's Daniels's work is going to be $389,000.
Right, no,
Give or take, whatever, right?
I understand that.
We can cut that back a little bit, possibly by doing a couple of the things in-house.
So we have roughly 241 in the bridge.
Mhm.
Right now, we're gonna be about 150 short. I kind of thought that I would ask the state if we couldn't turn the $200,000 grant into a grant for the temporary bridge and structures grant rather than for the permanent structure, because it's a moot point right now to keep adding money to the permanent structure. You're still not gonna get the fire trucks over it, or, we can fix it up for car traffic.
Yeah, but that grant right now will assist us in paying for the study and for project manager because it's gonna be for both. Right, because right now it's only can be for replacing the actual bridge.
Well, that's what I got the grant for, was fixing the old bridge until the truck went through it, and then
Right,
that threw a whole different
monkey wrench in the work.
monkey wrench.
Yeah.
When we reapplied, we were told that we could not use the money for the bridge.
We had that meeting.
Very clearly more than one time.
When they had the,
I do not think we should reapply for a temp bridge for that grant because it kind of just makes us look like we're ignoring what we already know. We've already been fixed.
Well, it was a thought, you know, maybe.
And I understand the reasoning behind all of it. I do.
the money.
I'm not looking to like throw snags in it. I just want to make sure that we're not going down the road and spending a lot of money, or do we even have the money to spend? Like you said, we're short. Even if you decided today to do the install and hopefully get a bridge, we don't have the money.
Actually, there are ways, we do have the money in the road account. We may have to borrow the 150 right now and take some out of like the building fund,
You
150.
can't do that unless you go to the voters.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, borrow it now and then put it on the ballot.
You can't do that. That is illegal. You have to vote first and the voters have to approve that.
So right now, we're putting the cart way before the horse on a bunch of this stuff, okay? First, if we go to a temporary bridge, we don't need an engineer. We've determined that through Daniels and whatever it is, right, through their recommendation. Put a temporary bridge in, we need a hydrology study. Right? We don't need a project manager because Daniels will manage their own project. Our road foreman is more than capable, in my opinion, of overseeing what's going on down there. Because we're just gonna go down and take a look at it, whatever. We sent out an RFP, Julie, and we got 0 responses,
First of
none.
all, please don't talk to me in that tone.
I-
I can hear you. Don't talk to me in that tone. Just because I'm not agreeing with you,
I don't, that's not it at all.
so then why are you bothering getting all these petitions and making Jonathan and them guys?
Because I have 90 houses across that bridge, residences across that bridge.
Yes, and I-
They get home heating oil to their.
Yes, and they can go through Mass and there's another easement way to get through. But
It's the other easement.
don't make me, I'm trying to be nice. There's
Well, don't
record,
try.
there's.
Stop.
Well, I can tell you then what you're doing is wrong. You're making everybody else come in, jump through hoops, write letters and everything. If we're gonna just piss on it and not worry about anything else, so then why are we asking the state for money for bridge stuff when we're not gonna follow any of the recommendations of the state? So why are we bothering asking for grant money? We're not gonna use what it's for, so piss on it then. We don't deserve a bridge from the state. I'm trying to help. I really think the people across the bridge deserve the bridge. They deserve the heat. They deserve all that. But once again, all of our policies and procedures, we do not follow on any of.
Which one are we following, Julie?
Well, I don't have them right in front of me, but I will get it for next one. I can guarantee you our purchasing policies are not correct. But once again, we are not following the recommendations of the state. They're telling us this is what we need. You guys, I'm not saying that you guys are not smart enough, by all means. I understand, but at least work a little with the state. Give us a little bit of time.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, we actually,
Agreeing with Daniels because I'm telling you, 6A is $952,000. It's not the same as this 389, according to that bridge thing.
yeah, you're in the wrong paper.
You're in the wrong, whole wrong thing, Julie.
Okay,
Wrong
sure,
thing.
we can that back up again. The estimate from the ACRO.
After was a totally different thing than Daniels.
That's what it is. If ACRO was part of the Daniels.
No,
Because it
it
was.
was totally different.
That's, I was asking that question prior.
Send that down to Julie.
That's not a Daniels. The Acro Bridges is a rental,
That's how much to get it right from the company.
right? And then, so does Daniels have a bridge?
No,
That's why we need a bridge from
that's
this.
why we need,
Daniels would do the site work to prepare
Right. The three.
a temporary bridge from the state.
and put it in, yeah, it's,
Or Tara, so that we're clear,
Hmm.
they would do the site work. So that, and Julie, you're right about this. They would do the site work for the Acro Bridge, but it would be separate from
yeah.
Daniels bid.
And
Does that clear that up?
Wrong about the total rental amount through the Afro Bridge. She
No,
doesn't
right.
know that it's related.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, no, they're two separate
Two separate
things.
vendors.
That was just to get.
I'm sorry, Julie, it's the misunderstanding, that's where it is. They're two totally separate items.
Well, that's why
And if we don't, honestly,
asking.
I'm gonna go out on a limb right here. It's not even on a limb. The truth of the matter is, if we don't get a bridge, if we don't get V-Trans to commit to a bridge down there, we can't afford, the town cannot afford to put a bridge across there, a temporary bridge. It's $1 million, just short. We can't afford it.
The way.
That's just for, so,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Julie, you're not wrong about that.
That's for the temporary bridge.
I do want to say something too about this petition and about the letters that individuals have written and the concerns that they have. Like, I think we should all be taking that very seriously and not telling people that they shouldn't be responding and reaching out to their select board and to the people who have been elected by them, because I don't know about anybody else here, but I get phone calls, I get text messages. I've had a lot of conversations with people who live across the bridge and people who are on this side as well, who are concerned. So I take this petition seriously. I take the emails I've gotten and letters really seriously, and those phone calls. And the idea of telling people that, no, you shouldn't be doing this, I personally find offensive. What I want is more community engagement. And if you have something on your mind and you want to talk about this bridge because you know it's going to impact your life, it is now, and you're concerned about how safe it is to drive on and whether or not our fire trucks can reach you and what's going to happen with oil this winter and school buses, I want people to speak up, and I just want to be very clear that I can only speak for myself, but when we're getting petitions and letters from residents of this town, I welcome that.
what's response time if you can't go across the bridge?
So.
Another 50.
This is Craig Odell speaking. Sorry, I just want to make sure that everybody knows you're talking.
Well, I wrote a letter to the board. From our station, we can't cross the bridge. It's 11 minutes back to the state line to go through Lansdowne. In a regular vehicle. You know, you gotta take in consideration making the turn on the Bulkley Street in Lansdowne.
That's not easy with a big truck.
No.
Most likely, you're gonna have to walk, turn around and come back down
Yeah.
to reach Bulkley Street. So it's 11 minutes to the state line. And that was optimal conditions. No traffic on the road. You know, weather conditions were perfect. And 16 minutes to go to Darling's house, which would be the very north end of what we covered. You know. Considerable
You could,
increase.
Can you get-
We could also do a
Mutual.
automatic mutual aid with Williamstown. I'm not going Williamstown down, but honestly, by the time we get dispatched, we have them dispatched. By the time they get to the firehouse, we're probably gonna be all meeting each other about
the same,
No, true.
yeah,
It's a logistics.
so.
So one of the things that's frustrating for all of us sitting here, whether it's a select board member, whether it's a resident, whether it's fire service, whether it's our road foreman, one of the things that's really frustrating for us is that we're up against time.
Yes.
Okay, we're at the end of July. Construction has to start. It has to start in mid-September at the latest, right? Being in the construction business, building houses is a little different than building a bridge over the years, but still you have to break ground, you have to get concrete.
at least get the abutments and yeah.
So time is of the essence, and that's why. That's why Julie, and Tara, honestly, that's why I feel personally that we may have to sidestep a couple of those things, and it's not that I don't, and this is me personally. I'm sitting here as a select board member. I have that right to say, right, what I feel, as everyone else does. It's not that I'm trying to sidestep what the state's telling us at all, but we're up against time. And I know the state doesn't do projects in the winter, so I think the state would definitely understand what we're coming from.
I think the end of October, I think you're done.
So, and you can't, there's a certain date in October, and I apologize, I don't know what it is, and actually, Michael, you may know what the date is in October where you can't do
In the water.
work in the water. Is it the 15th of October? I don't,
Oh, for the water quality issues?
yeah, I don't know the date off the top of my head. I should know and I don't.
I should also, but it's escaping me right now.
I think it's right around the middle of October.
Yeah, it's right around.
You know, so my guess is knowing the state of Vermont, they do everything on the 15th of every month for whatever reason, so I'm gonna stay with the 15th of October, just for, be consistent with the state. They open trails on the 15th, they close them on the 15th, you know, so whatever, I don't know where they come up with that, but, so that's another thing that we're up against is, you know, the time is huge. And I agree 100% that for a new bridge and design and moving forward, that yes, we need a project manager. We need an engineering firm to do that 100% all the way across the board. No doubt in my mind, because there's just no way that first off, I wouldn't trust a firm to come in to build the bridge without having an engineer and having it designed, even if it was their own engineer. You know, and have a new bridge put in place. You know? If that makes sense. But I do agree with both of you on that, you know, on a new bridge. That's not where we're at. I think we have to separate these two out, focus on getting a bridge before cold weather.
Okay, can I ask another question then? Okay, we're focusing on the bridge. Where are we putting the bridge? We don't have any easements. Nobody's been in to do research,
If I can get it,
documents to say that you're going through land trusts or whatever property and whatnot. I mean, all that stuff has to be done.
I will ask for this right now. If I can get paperwork from Bob Fisher, a simple easement paper sent to me from Bob Fisher, by next Thursday night, I will have a land trust sign off. I will have an easement from Gary Lewis, and I'll have an easement from Alan Palmer. I'll have those signed off, simple easements.
Can I just clarify something?
Mhm.
You said that you think the road foreman is perfectly capable of handling the project management. I would like to request that he do so. I do not want to try to, because I am not trying to be rude. I only know how to do things a certain way. I have people that I look to for advice and I follow their recommendations. I am not following that recommendation. I feel like I'm lost and I don't know what I'm doing. So if Joel can take it on, that all means, as I've stated many times, I'm unqualified to do even a temporary bridge project. It sounds easy enough, but I'm gonna say I'm not qualified.
I'll entertain a motion from the board to have our road foreman
I'll second that motion.
in charge of the temporary bridge project moving forward.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Do I have any further discussion?
I do. It took 3 months to get a 1-lane bridge sign put up. Serious. Never mind. I'm not gonna be nice.
I'll just send my folder to you so you can add to it. Please.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, you're in charge of the temporary bridge project moving forward.
Good luck.
I think we also need a motion and a vote to go ahead and move forward with the temporary bridge project, because we keep going back and forth, and just to have some clarity on that. So I'll make the motion to move forward with appropriate steps for the temporary bridge, engaging the Daniels company with this and understanding everything that must be done, all the subcontracting, an acknowledgement that they have engineers on their staff, and then everything will have to be permitted, but to move forward with that.
I think, I'd like an amendment on that motion, Jeannie, to contingent upon acquiring a temporary bridge from V-Trans.
Yeah, agreed. That's a friendly amendment for sure.
Do I have a second?
Second that.
A motion and a second. Do I have any discussion on moving forward with that?
Question. We're not voting on the bridge, we're voting to move forward. We still have to vote on whether we're going to hire Daniels. My concern is that you said whatever else we need to do. If we're making a motion, I'd like to know exactly whatever that will,
They're gonna meet tomorrow. Hopefully, we're gonna get a report back on.
Well, I can restate that motion. That's fine if I need to do that. I can simplify it.
because I just want to make sure that, I want to make sure that I don't want to vote for something that it's done and I want to hear exactly where we're at with Daniels. I want to know about the temporary bridge, and I agree with Mike. We can't go forward with Daniels unless we have the temporary bridge, because
Agreed.
we don't have the money, period. So, all right.
Do you have any more questions? Are you comfortable, Carl?
Yes.
Yeah,
If you ask questions.
Sure.
So
Just Jonathan Cooper, our town representative. Sorry, John, just so people know who's talking.
Sure, that's fine. I guess what I was just wanting to understand, and maybe Carl, you were asking this exact thing, is this motion limiting the town's choices in any way?
I'm not worried so much about that. I just want to make sure that I'm not voting for something that I don't know that I was voting for, if you know what I mean. An open-ended vote. I want to make sure that, and I just want to make sure that we're locked down exactly what the vote is, that's all.
again, I'm happy to restate that motion.
So let's retract your motion in a second.
Yeah.
And start over.
Right.
You retract your
I do
motion.
retract my motion.
Jamie retracts his second. Okay.
Okay, so then what I would propose, I will move then to that we move forward with the temporary bridge. Provided that we are able to obtain a bridge from V-Trans. And yes, I think that we just need to,
And have
if you
Daniels-
don't want Daniels and proceed.
Have Daniels
Daniels
proceed for their
so far.
$389,000 bid.
Yeah, I think that's what we are saying, is that we want to move forward on Daniels.
What you're
bid.
looking for?
Can you please include in your motion where the money is coming from?
Well, I don't think we have that option right at this point, Tara. We have $240,000 in the bridge fund. And
We have to, that should absolutely be in the minutes when you're talking about spending $4.
I think what we've said is there's 240, that there's 240, wait. One, yes, right, so we're talking about 148 at the moment for Daniels. And that we're voting to pursue this. And if we don't have the money, we don't.
Why don't we vote to start with the planning phase of this, so we get things going?
Correct.
All right, not the financial phase of it. We'll come back for that, and that's a discussion that we need to bring Ellen in on. Because,
Well, I can tell you what there is for numbers.
Okay.
That means money fund, unless we vote.
correct.
We don't necessarily need Ellen, but we do need to, if you're gonna vote to spend a large sum, we have to know where it's coming from.
And I agree with you, Tara, 100%. And I agree that we don't need Ellen on this because we need to find $148,000. And that is the board's job to find the $148,000 to give or take 150 grand. Let's
Right.
round numbers, right? We need to find the difference. Whatever it is, we have $241,000 in the bridge fund that can go right directly to the bridge. Period. We need to find the balance, whatever the difference is. That's the board's job. And if we have to have a special election, special vote to find that money to get voter approval, then so be it. We don't have a choice. Our choices are very limited on what we do there. And so the way I see it, we move forward and we try to move forward with this to get services to the west side of the river. Or we do nothing and that's where we at and we can stop talking about this. Those are our two choices.
Can I ask, so I click, Daniel, for the 389,000, they're gonna do the piers and all that.
Correct.
Okay,
And hold on, Julie. So I want not only the piers, they're going to, because the bridge does not come in one section, it comes in multiple pieces. They are going to put the bridge together and install the bridge on the piers. And for the 389, that includes all of the finished product, the blacktop on each end of the approaches.
but you said we're going on, if V-Trans gives us a temporary bridge.
Yes.
Okay, what happens if V-Trans don't give us a bridge? We have all this work.
We just wasted
Yeah,
30 minutes of talking or whatever,
Well, I'm
25 minutes.
We're gonna know shortly whether, oh, I shouldn't say short.
Right, we just wasted 25 minutes of discussion, Julie. And which is incredibly frustrating, right, for all of us.
We can't, Julie, we can't move forward with putting the piers in until we get a confirmation from V-Trans. Am I correct on that, Mike?
Yeah. First of all, I wouldn't want to.
Okay.
I don't want to spend any money if we're not getting a bridge.
Okay.
In which case, then we come back and have a discussion.
What's that?
Goal is to find an H&H study engineer.
hydro.
Right.
Does that answer your question, Bill?
Yeah, I guess.
Well, if you need more clarification,
No, because
Give it a
I'm not, no, I don't have nice words right now.
So can I get an engineer to do the hydraulic study?
well, first let's vote on this motion that I have. Right?
Yeah.
I have a motion and do I have a second on the rescinded motion? Okay. So I have a motion to move forward with the temporary bridge. As long as we can get a temporary bridge from V-Trans. Is that basically
Correct.
and have Daniels for $389,500 their bid.
Correct.
Do that project.
Correct.
That's our motion.
Yeah.
Everyone's clear on that. Any more discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
I'm still no.
Okay. 4 to 1. All right, now, we need to move forward with the hydrology study. Now, I believe that the hydrology study needs to be done, whether we put in temporary bridge or move forward with a permanent bridge. So the state grant money should be able to be used for that. But I think we have to make sure of that.
That's a bylaw thing. Right? The town bylaw thing.
Well, I know that was a state thing that they said too.
But do we have to, do you think, for a temporary bridge? I know we do for.
I believe so is what
I
that
believe so.
email said for the state of Vermont.
A bridge is a bridge, whether it's permanent or temporary.
And, and because we're putting it right next to our existing bridge, we can utilize the grant money for that. Because we're utilizing that study also for the permanent bridge.
What Joel was asking is
If we
a
have to.
temporary bridge to be with the zoning stuff? Because we don't say, we only talk about permanent bridges needing,
The,
um,
well, that's, I don't.
I think a bridge is a bridge.
I thought you were asking if we had to do the study for the.
Oh, we gotta do the study.
And I think we can use that grant money because the hydrology study should be whether we go with the temporary bridge or whether we have to put a new bridge in.
Correct.
Can I hire East Engineering if they'll do it to do it?
We placed you in charge of the bridge project, temporary bridge project 10 minutes ago.
Well,
So, and
We
make,
gotta get something done. I mean, I don't know. I don't have any engineers that I know that could do that.
Make
I
a
think
mo-
that's a suggestion. On our next item. On the hydro thing. I don't know if you have your paper, but that paper, they did a hydro study for the North Pownell Bridge. There's a firm right there.
I saw that.
Well, that's what I'm saying, well, that's another.
option to read.
But I didn't get it.
Guy that's doing the hydro.
What's the name of the firm,
Hydraulic study done.
Julie?
Fitzgerald out of.
It's Fitzgerald and Vermont,
Did it.
yes.
Will you,
Oh, yeah,
so
definitely, if he already did it.
so I make a motion to have our road foreman reach out to a couple engineers for the hydraulic study.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
Me,
4-1. Okay. Do we have anything else on the bridge? Oh, everybody's blood pressure's up pretty high. Craig?
So, first of all, who are we looking at for a time frame if we are gonna start the temporary bridge? And second, what are we supposed to do as a fire service?
and pray that we don't.
So the time frame, Craig, I can't answer that with any solid answers, because I don't know. If we could get started in September is what we were hoping for. You know, because we're already August, hey, we gotta have a hydrology study and move forward. I would say that I would hope, I won't say, my hope would be to have a temporary bridge installed by November 1. I would hope. But I don't want to put. I don't want to
set a date because all of a sudden Murphy's.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I would hope that by November 1, we could have a temporary bridge to be used. You know, until we get another bridge placed permanently.
So in the interim,
I don't have an answer for that, Craig. I can't tell you. And I don't think the board can tell you, as the fire chief, to send your trucks over the bridge or don't send your trucks over the bridge. The bridge that's there. I think that's a,
Useful information.
yeah, did Craig get that information that you sent to us about
The federal.
the federal government, highway and all that stuff? Okay, so there was in our bridge packet, I can get that to you. There was a whole recommendations. And I was trying to choose a good term. There was a whole recommended thing on bridges and emergency service apparatus and old trucks and different things crossing the bridge. And that's right, that's from the federal government and state regs too. And yeah, and state regs are in there as well. So I think we just got that yesterday, didn't we, Tara? So we'll forward that to you. And can you make sure that Jason gets a copy of that too, please? Craig, it basically, in a nutshell, it boils down to the driver of the apparatus. And then it doesn't even point to the chief officer, which kind of baffled me a little bit. It boils down to the driver of the apparatus taking the chance of going across a bridge.
In a way that makes sense because the guy is the driver of the apparatus.
Didn't really agree with some of the stuff on there, Craig. I'm not gonna lie to you, but that's basically what I said.
Their truck's 69,000 pounds.
So maybe with that, have Tara get an engineer to do a study on that. So, we can get some good figures together for weights.
Isn't that your job now?
Well, I think that Let's concentrate on one thing or the other.
Well, I think.
I know there's some concern,
You got two different subjects going on,
correct?
so,
But we do have a concern.
yes,
It'd be nice to have a professional opinion.
yes.
Right. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
In an earlier visit, you had mentioned about possibly having a fire truck on the other side as a standby. Was that like an optional thing that we can have? Not, I don't want like, you know what I mean? Is there a fire truck and even if it was an older fire truck?
But that was
Yeah.
construction, right?
Yeah, I mean, we did that for a single day, road construction.
Right. When they closed the bridge.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm just asking if there was like an older fire truck that, not the greatest, but would be over on that side.
I'm hoping they don't have any that aren't the greatest, Julie.
Don't,
Get cold weather. It's-
I understand.
It's still,
fire trucks.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, without it being housed in
Right.
climate, you can't really.
Well, and I think there's a multitude of things that could, right, if you take one of your, if you take a piece of apparatus, and this is speaking from being a former fire chief, if you take a piece of apparatus and you have it across the river, then if you need it on the east side of the river, then you gotta go get it and come around. But I know what you're saying,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
There's just so many
variables.
variables on this whole thing, right? That's something that we probably should discuss again, Craig, after you read this email, you and Jason, and maybe we have you guys come back in and just discuss that alone, separately, not alone, but separately from any other bridge discussion items. Okay, after you and Jason get a chance to read those guidelines and recommendations and all of that stuff from the state and federal governments. All right, and
There's also the path across the bridge. There's a weight limitation and we've exceeded that. Our insurance company is probably not gonna be very happy.
And I thought about that. I've had internal discussions with both of the personalities in my head. It's probably gonna be the town's responsibility anyway,
Yeah.
right? It's if something happens. Right, it's probably gonna be somewhere along the line, the town's gonna be responsible for that.
Then if we have large scale fire, like one of those barns, all multiple mutual aid companies, and
Yeah.
are they gonna know not to cross that bridge? Are they gonna know their way to go through Williamstown?
You have to make sure dispatch the,
Well, I think at that point, so I think, Craig, that's something that could be a discussion item. And hopefully nothing happens between now and having that discussion where Jason's involved in this. Where maybe if you have a large scale fire across the river, there's some houses over there, not just the barns. There's some houses on the upper end. That are, right, that are pretty major houses. Maybe that's where you're going to have to, you in your department being the lead officer. Maybe you're gonna have to lean on somebody else to communicate that to your responding mutual aid departments, right? Maybe, and I don't know who it is. I don't wanna sit here and speculate, right? I mean, if it had to be, because I have a background in that stuff, if it had to be me, I'd be more than willing to say I'll be that guy that you have to lean on for communication. To communicate to other departments and whatever. I'd be fine with that. This is an emergency situation. The bridge itself is definitely an emergency situation. Whether the state wants to classify it as an emergency or not, it is, in my mind. And I think we as a town and we as a board, which we've already as a town have started to solidify here. But we as a board have to step up and say, if you need me to do something, you have my phone number.
Only other
And
question,
dial the phone till I answer.
what temporary bridge should a company go, and it's installed Isn't gonna be any weight limitations to that.
No,
No, we'll be able to.
a temporary bridge will be National Highway Transportation certified, so whatever can run up and down Route 7,
It's
346, any
Like
of those.
50,000 pounds.
Yeah, they will be legal to go across that temporary bridge. I mean, there is weight limitations, right? You can't go 150,000, but you know, whatever can run up and down Route 7 legally can run across the bridge legally.
I think it's around 40 ton, maybe
Yeah, I think I think it was 40 or 42 ton if I remember right.
H93, yeah.
So,
You talk to Jason, maybe having set up a scenario as far as a tanker relay instead of a tanker shuttle for that area. I don't know, I'm just thinking,
I don't think that's our job, Jamie, to say.
No, I'm just-
Fight a fire across the river.
no, I'm just offering from
No, I know,
experience.
I know.
to-
So I think we need to sit down with you and Jason after you guys have time to read that, those emails, digest them.
Yeah,
Right? That answer your question?
because I think those will answer a lot of your questions.
Well, there's gonna be questions after reading.
Oh, after that, correct.
Yeah. Okay. We have any more discussion on the bridge? As I said, I will entertain public comment on the bridge, Bonnie, so if you have something and you wanna,
Yeah, I'm just,
Bonnie Cutler from Pownell.
prior to now, but I am, I did have a best deal.
Oh, okay. Hmm.
On the west side of the river. And, I had family over there, so, and I know that personalities are, and these things always happen when these type of situations, emergency situations arise and like that, and there's gonna be personality conflicts and like that. But as a board, we appreciate anything that you can do. I mean, one last long storm on that side of the river is tragic. And, so things have to move quickly. We need to put our personality conflicts aside and do what's best and do what's best in a short period of time, because time is of the essence. So I appreciate everything that you're doing. I appreciate that you work together and get a temporary bridge over there for those people that reside on that side. Now, I have a couple quick questions. There's a meeting tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning,
Okay, what time is that meeting?
it's 9:30,
9.
but it's not really a public meeting. I mean, you could come, I guess, and listen if you wanted to, but
Nice.
sorry, 9,
And where is it gonna be, at the bridge?
no, right here.
Right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll attend or not. And also, will Spence Scribner be at the meeting tomorrow?
No,
And that's all I have, and I thank you very much, and I do appreciate everything you're trying to do to get this bridge taken care of. Thank you.
thanks, Bonnie.
Thank you.
Hannah, do I have any public comment? Sorry, I didn't see any. Jonathan?
So I'll take a seat for just a minute to give an update really based on what you had said. Jonathan Cooper and live on North Powell Road. And so part of the personalities are the ones in Montpelier. And so it's been really important, I think, for us to have this working group that's meeting to talk about the issues on the ground, and then how we get an entity that said no to say yes. And so I'm looking forward to sort of sharing some information that we can, I think, work on tomorrow. And I'm glad to say that the door is not shut. And so that's something that we can really maybe use some elbow grease to wedge it open. But that's been the point of these sort of smaller meetings that are sort of taking place every 2 weeks. I think we meet more frequently if we need to, because time's a factor. But this is something where we're providing some pushback and some rationale, and I think that's helping our shared cause. So I just wanted to make mention of that, sort of, if anyone's watching or curious, that's the purpose of those meetings, so we can speak with one voice. We need to, and ensure that we're keeping diplomatic relations, in order, because that ultimately will matter a lot. So think that's I think we're in a good place there as well. So that's.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. No other public comment? Okay. Huzik Hydro request to perform work discussion and possible action. Anybody read that paper from? Anybody have any questions, concerns, comments on that?
I have a liability concern. If we give him permission to access the river and he does not have permits, are we on the hook? I've read it, I've went up, and the research I've done goes both ways on that. And that's just a concern of mine, that's all. Because I don't see anything there. He says he's got a hydraulic study, but that does not, and the guy, well, is gonna help him get paid. And I just have a concern, that's my concern.
Is that dredging the river down below where we wouldn't let them pull the water line out?
Correct,
And Darcy's.
And Darcy's.
Water line.
Yep.
correct.
I have a couple of concerns on it, to be honest with you. One of the concerns that I have is I believe, and I have not had time to research it out since we got that request. But I believe when they put that hydro unit in there, there was something along the lines of draining the hydro unit a certain time of year so that the property south of the dam didn't become permanent wetlands, and I don't believe that's happened at all. I think Joel, I think you guys own that property south of, behind the rock cut and across from Jeannie's house. And I believe there's something that when they did that and got the permit from the town, and I honestly just haven't had time to look it up since. Julie, were you in the zoning when they got that hydro plant?
Probably in the lease documents.
Let's see,
Years ago.
it was a long time.
I didn't know if you were part of that, Julie, if you were, because I know you have a memory like an elephant over there on that stuff, so I thought I was reaching out to you.
I come across that once. Of course, the time I come across it, I didn't.
It's just something I think that if they're not, if they haven't been doing what they were supposed to be doing for the property on the south end of the river, I think if we're gonna give them permission to go in there, then we have to hold them to what they were supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And if they're not doing it, then I think it's our responsibility to make sure that they are. Right? I think we need to make sure they have all permits in place before they get in and touch the river. I think we need to see the permits here, not, yeah, I got them.
Right.
We need to see them.
Right.
You know, permit.
They have to, because they're gonna be altering, they gotta get us a permit from the state.
But like, I don't know what the state requires.
The NR.
Thinking the board could say something to the effect of like, these are town requirements, but you need to meet the state requirements also, or
So-
something like that.
Right.
I had a question because I know that you need A&R,
Right,
but being that it wasn't federal cleanup and stuff.
yes.
My concern
Right.
is that being that it's federal and we had all the grant, and I'm not a water person, but if you're doing the moving of the sediment, is that gonna bring back our bad stuff that feds already cleaned? Like I said,
No, that's,
I know it was federal that did it. And with the lagoons, I vaguely remember doing, but I know that was federal,
I know you can't dig into the berms and
right? But
other requirements, but
it's still, right, so that was a question
I think at this
on
time,
top of
we
state.
need a lot more information before we say that they can go in there and dredge that.
there's quite a few regulations that go into water.
I believe we need,
Yeah.
I believe we need their engineering firm, Fitzgerald, right? Is that what it was? Julie?
Yeah, and I didn't see anything like where they
Mike,
contacted.
what you're looking for, is there a stream alteration
That's
permit?
one of them.
I was gonna say, can we get any input from our conservation district since you're here?
Ah, yes.
Do you guys want me to?
Yes, please.
Good. John.
It's Michael Fernandez, Bennington County Conservation District, for the record. Can I get a little context here? So we're dredging a reservoir?
No, it's in the Hoosic River. It is for the hydroelectric plant at the former tannery site.
And I'm doing this on the fly, so.
That's fine.
That's great.
And so we have, there's a sewer line that comes from the west side to the east side of the river. Town-owned sewer line. And there is a water line from the old reservoir that used to be on the mountain on the west side of the river, owned by the tannery, that comes across the river to the east side of the river. And they're both in the location, general location of where they'd be dredging.
Okay. At the bare minimum, you would definitely need a stream alteration permit. That would be Josh Carvajal's remit. You would also, when was the dam originally constructed?
Oh, boy.
If you scroll down the dates, there are.
I'm gonna say probably the 20s, if not before that.
I mean, I don't request that he come before the board
And have you,
and discuss it with you because I don't know how to hold them accountable for, those are all state permits or
Right.
DEC or A&R, not.
Right.
and while it's not impossible to get a permit for dredging a reservoir in Vermont, it is incredibly difficult. We did attempt that. The district up at Lake Perrin doesn't have the hydro component, but the state does treat any standing body of water as a lake, not as a reservoir. There's no separate category for that.
But I believe I might be, is he dredging the output or is he dredging the reservoir? The output.
Dredging the output, okay. So even then, bare minimum stream alteration, if it was built in the 20s, you also have to think hazardous materials. So you would need to do some kind of sediment sampling and
It
testing.
was an EPA.
That's a physical site.
That's a-
Remember when we ate lunch?
Yeah, that place. So yeah, bare minimum, you're talking like hazardous materials, transport plan, disposal plan.
I think we need to have an engineering firm.
Waterway.
Fitzgerald's a really good firm. I've never heard a bad word about them, but this level of stuff is more of a Jim Henderson question, just because of his level of experience. I would see a lot of that to him, but really at bare minimum, the stream alteration permit, when we did try and do this, at Perrin, we did try and address some sediment buildup both in the reservoir and below. We ran into a whole bevy of problems with wetland alteration and because they tried to declare the whole reservoir a wetland. And we had to pay to have an independent firm come down and contest that. This is quite the kettle of fish you've got here.
At best, I think we need Fitzgerald in here to, or I'm a representative or whatever. Okay.
Very good. They sit down. It's my time.
Can you reach out to him there and tell them we need that? Thank you. And we can do it at the next meeting probably, right? Yeah. Well, I'm sure they want to get it done, so they have to get it done before October. Right. Okay. Anything else on the discussion? So I think at this time, we're gonna invite them here with their engineer.
Okay.
At the next regular board meeting, if they're available.
I was gonna say Jim Henderson, I agree. We should probably.
Yeah.
So that we cover all bases.
Yeah.
What's that?
Julie went to the bathroom.
Yeah, I figured.
He is working with the A&R though.
Yeah,
Talk to Josh about it.
yeah, I'm sure. We need some more information about we can. And we need some sort of a written guarantee that if they damage the sewer line or the water line, that they're gonna repair them.
Yeah, we need their insurance.
Yeah, I involved Darcy on that one, for you guys.
Yeah.
For sure. If they're going, yeah. Because she was concerned, it's buried right now if they
Right.
dig too far and expose it.
Or that or trough lanes.
So do we need to also add her to that meeting as well?
Yeah.
That would be a good idea to see if Darcy's available for that.
And the water line. You need water down there. Someday you may have to do something. The water line's there. You don't have to go
Right.
through all the permits because you can repair or.
Right, for your system.
Yeah. Like keep that in mind.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank
guys.
Thanks. All right, Michael. Yep, sorry, I should have just left you there.
Just stayed up there.
Do this. You can get additional copies made.
Actually, I know this pretty well, so it's very.
Thank you.
It's on the website. Michael Fernandez, Planning County Conservation District, back again. Should we wait? Oh, okay, good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we could wait just a second.
Yeah.
Be great. Sorry.
Thank you for being here. I know you've had a long day.
Yeah, apologies if my wits are not as quick. It's already been a 14-hour day for me, so I am here.
That's
Golden. What doesn't? What's that? Silence is either golden or deadly.
Yeah, usually I think it's more like deadly.
Oh, you're fine, Joe. Okay, Mike.
Jeannie asked me to swing down this evening. Lovely to see everyone. Always love coming down to Powell. To follow up on the PFAS discussions that we began. Tara, Carl, and I were out and about with Secretary Moore, the state reps and senators. We have since, we being the conservation district, we haven't been invited into the PFAS issue by the state. Our board has decided that we're going to become involved in the PFAS issue. We cover all of the towns that have been impacted. And it is a serious conservation, water quality and soil quality issue. So we put some time into developing some web-based resources for folks to give options for specifically soil and water testing through the Environmental Quality Incentives Program through the USDA NRCS, which is our key federal partner agency. That is SEMA 209, I believe. Tara, is that what it says on that paper? So that program is readily available in Bennington County. There are obviously state-based resources for testing of house wells. I do not know, however, if that includes agricultural wells. I don't believe that it does currently. And we had several requests come in from farmers who wanted to have agricultural water sources tested. springs as well. But really there was no available resources at all for soil testing. And we've received a lot of concern over the years and particularly over this last year around the availability of soil testing. So that program, as some of you may know, I know we've got some farmers on the board. That is an annual cycle. Currently under the Trump administration, the actual application processing occurs in November through January, with award notifications going out in February to March. So it is a long lead time on requesting those. But they are available, and we would consider, we being again the conservation district, after all the feedback we've received over this last year, including PFAS soil and water testing as part of our local fund pool, which is our dedicated county-based source of funding for the Environmental Quality Incentives Program that we earmark through our locally led process. It is not a replacement for the EPA or state efforts that are already ongoing. This should be viewed as a supplemental effort. But we do have some resources available for outreach and engagement. We have our community engagement officer who lives right here in Pownell. She's currently on bottled water, so it's a bit of an issue that she's passionate about. So we are happy to help with any outreach and engagement efforts. We're pretty good at that and have been getting a lot better over the years. And in addition to providing these funding resources for specifically soil testing and trying to fill that gap, I have been in communication with other states, other conservation districts, other conservation organizations, specifically in Michigan and Maine, which also have very heavy PFAS and other forever chemicals contamination of their agricultural soils and water. And are exploring options that are being pursued there that are more community oriented, low cost, and scalable. One of the underutilized aspects of the conservation districts and the Soil Conservation Act of 1939 that passed here in Vermont, and then following Bennington's adoption of a conservation district in 1946, is the ability to conduct demonstration projects, to hold leases or take ownership of property, and to conduct our equipment cooperative. And what the point I brought up with the folks who were there is that there is a technology that has received very little attention from most state actors, and that being bioremediation, specifically phytoextraction through the use of very specific plants and fungi. We actually have some great experts right here in Bennington County on that subject. I count myself among them, but also Patrick McLaughlin up at Soul Connection Farm in Arlington is a very well-respected researcher in this area. We don't have letters behind our names, but we have been conducting bioremediation experiments at that farm successfully, but it's more geared towards lead. So our open-handed offer at this point to all the impacted towns is we receive funding from Pownell, we receive funding from North Bennington, we receive funding from Shaftesbury, and we would be more than willing to utilize that funding to pursue some small-scale demonstration projects of this technique in partnership with Myconaut, which is the leading company, currently the first recipient of federal funds for research on bioremediation of PFAS utilizing hemp and white rot fungus known as, I'm blanking on the species name. You'll have to forgive me on that, but I can forward you all the materials on that study. They've gotten some very good results on both field and tabletop surveys using multiple techniques, but all, so there's a bacterial, a fungal, and a plant component, and it's relatively affordable. It's something that the district could cover with town appropriations and our core services funds to do that seed down and PFAS testing. So if that is something that is of interest to Pownell and the residents here, whether that is the town or an individual private resident, we are more than happy to pursue some bioremediation work. Our perspective at the district is we're non-regulatory, non-reporting. We don't have any role in the lawsuits or anything that's ongoing. Our perspective is we should start cleaning the mess up if we have the tools to do so. We do have some tools to start cleaning the mess up. It's not going to fix the whole problem, but it might mitigate some harm. So with that, I will pause for any questions from the select board, and if you all want to, members of the public, ask questions.
No, if we do have a resident, let's say that, and they're interested in some soil testing and also some of this bioremediation, how would they get in touch with you? Should they reach out to Ashley? What's the best way if someone is?
They can go to BCCD VT, that's B as in boy, C as in cat, C as in cat, D as in dog, V as in Victor, T as in tango, .org/PFAS. And all of that information is available on our webpage, as is my contact information, Ashley's contact information. Folks can go directly onto my calendar and book site visits with me. They just need to tell me what they're looking for. So can do some preliminary research and due diligence before I go out. And yeah, it all in bag of hemp. I think right now, 50-pound bag of hemp seed for fiber hemp, which is the cultivar that you would use for this kind of an initiative, runs about $75. Pownell gives us $500 a year. And if we can get a volunteer tractor driver, I've got a no-till drill and we can give it a shot. The one piece that isn't currently in our repertoire right now that we are working on, I'm working with some legislators, that's poor timing. I'm working with some legislators on procuring what's called a pyrolization unit, a mobile pyrolyzer.
Fire.
Very hot fire, over 1200 degrees Celsius is what you need to. Propane,
Or is it?
it burns the material. So there's some propane units.
Okay, I thought you were talking about just like a flame leader.
No,
I
no,
thought even-
it's 1200 degrees Celsius. There is a company in Fort Edward, the name is escaping me for some reason right now, that does have that capacity. But we do not have a CDL driver. I don't want to be running 50 loads of hemp baled over to Fort Edward. That would just make the cost of all this spiral. So we've been pursuing, God, I think I've been doing this for 2 years now, trying to get that unit. I've applied for 3 separate grants for it at this point, but we're going to try just going straight to the legislature.
That's your gotta be.
1002 degrees Celsius. That's what's required to break the carbon fluorine bonds and degrade with 95% efficacy. There is some initial tabletop research that is part of the Myconaut study that I think it was the EPA, but I'm not 100% sure which agency funded this program that is utilizing strains of bacteria and fungi to begin the degradation process. It's not 100% efficacious. And they're also working on bioinoculant that helps deepen the reach of the root zone through the rhizosphere. If people are familiar with that term, the web, the soil food web that can reach down deeper than the roots can. And those have also been, the results of that have been really fascinating. We would love to do some projects on this and help out in any way we can. I did one component that was rather concerning to me on those site visits that we went on was the previous night. I went to both of the meetings, the one the night before in Bennington and the one here in Pownell. And we were told rather explicitly at the Bennington meeting that the state was not particularly concerned with PFAS in soil because it had largely been flushed from the soil layer. Because it has some, apparently, despite being a water repellent, is incredibly mobile with water. But then the next day, we were told by the engineers and scientists that were responsible for the sites that the oldest Warren Wire site still had soil contamination all the way at the top of the O horizon, all the way down to 6 feet at extremely high concentrations. So one of those things can be true. but not necessarily both. Some of it's definitely been flushed through. I specialized in stoichiometry back in college, so I do have some academic credentials for this. But if the soil, if it's only down 6 feet, then it hasn't been flushed all the way out, especially if it's at that high of a concentration.
Yeah.
So with tools like this at our disposal and the intellectual resources that we are very lucky to have here in Bennington, specifically Pat McLaughlin, Jess Rubin at UVM. There's a lot of great folks who are doing this kind of work. It's not the sort of thing that gets brought up at big engineering conferences because it doesn't make a whole lot of this. And is very low tech, all things considered. But it is something that I believe in New Hampshire, they're running pilots, Michigan, they're running pilots, Maine, they're running an entire co-op doing this with hemp in the fields that the state had applied biosolids contaminated with PFAS. That's well written about. You Google it. So yeah, there's options.
Okay.
And we're here to help.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I'm sure that you'll have some people reaching out. Thank you, Michael. Yeah. Go, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks so much.
Always a pleasure, folks.
Okay.
Updates from town officials.
That feedback signs have been installed on Route 7. They're functioning, working great. Cool things I need to brighten them. But I know, so I'm kind of just leading a little bit because those are the recommended settings. To see how other people feel, but it's collecting data and the setup of it was really easy, user friendly. So I really like that company and I gave Joel a fire in case he wants to.
Good, yeah, no, I noticed them right away, actually.
It says the signs, so people know. What you're talking about.
Yeah, the rapid feedback.
So, a resident on 346 was, and I know that Northwestville has had a lot of email back or Facebook stuff about speeding and stuff. So are they helping like slow people down?
I think they're helping. I've heard people are slowing down. And the way that the permitting works is you have to prove a need, you have to have a speed study before you can even put those signs in. You have to have data that those signs would collect. Those signs are movable, so in the future, we may want to put them somewhere else. But here it worked because of the decrease from 50 to 40 and with the school zone really helped too. So 346 doesn't have the school component, it does have the speed decrease, so.
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they do have, that's why they're rapid feedback. You can go in there. Someone can and look at the data, but you have that capability, right? That's what I thought. You can look at the data and say that, yes, this car is going 50, or these 10 cars are going 53 or 58 or whatever, and they slow it down.
Yeah.
You have that ability to see if it does work. So I think, Julie, what I would recommend is to leave them there for, because they've only been operating a couple of weeks, right? Actually operating.
Yeah, and then I'm assuming that the scoping study may use the data. But what's really cool about these is that you save them in the cloud by location. So the locations they're in, it has like a little folder, saves all the data. We move them, I add a location, still the same sign, but it collects different data based on the location in the settings that we put in.
Right, so my recommendation would be leave them there for a month or whatever.
Right, so.
See if they are working, and if we determine through the data that they are working, then, okay, then maybe we do move one up or two or whatever to Northwest Hill or 346 or whatever. Because I don't think it's a huge issue to move them, we just need to put the sign post in.
Something.
Right, so I think it's a great point, Julie, to move them, because they are. And I think that once we get some data to see if they do work, then we can certainly move them.
Okay, so because like the resident has the daycares and stuff right on the corner, and because people are speeding. But then my concern was, did we get that through a grant, and are we able to move them without?
We did not purchase some of the grant. We used, we had an employee who resigned and then we didn't renew the buildings and grounds position that we shared with Joel. So there was a little bit of money left over his wage line, and the board decided to spend that on the signs. They were like 4,000 each. But I do know that Joel has looked into the movable ones. They're about around $3,000, 2,800, and the batteries last 5 to 7 days. I was confused, I thought hours, but it's days, and it comes with 2 batteries, so he has already looked into.
And that would be the same as you have right now, where it would.
I don't know that it would be the same kind, because I don't know what he looked, I'm not sure what he looked at.
Because that would be nice, if we had that, now we could take 2 signs.
Right, and he may
And
have.
go around town and start doing speeds. Our speed studies on different parts of town. And I think here with the signs, I think it works great on keeping people slow in the school zone.
I wish we could make them stroll or something when they're speeding, but we just are not allowed to. Federal guidelines are really strict. State, because it's a state and federal highway. Says no.
We do that,
no.
I can't do that on town road.
I think we can do it on town because Williamstown has
That's exactly.
several of
Yeah,
those
they're
that are strobing. So obviously that must be something different for state and federal versus a town highway. I mean, I don't know that answer, but I'm gonna.
So we're gonna find out, aren't we?
Well, I'm gonna say that Williamstown's not breaking the law, right, by having a strobe.
Mass is very different DOT laws anyways.
So
They still follow the same federal.
Well,
their
yeah, the
state-
federal, yeah, but like the one I'm thinking of in Williamstown, I think is a town road.
Right, there is one that is on a town road, for sure.
But I can definitely look into that and talk.
Yeah, I would-
If he does purchase one, hopefully we can get the same brand so that it's.
Yeah, that would be nice because,
Because I really like that traffic logic.
yeah,
System.
because then we can turn around like doing different studies. Well, we could put the signs up and now we've got data to go back.
Well, I was coming out. I had to meet a guy this afternoon, not that this is on the same subject, right? I had to meet a guy tonight at 5 o'clock and look at a zoning, he had a zoning question, putting up a garage. It was on 346, so I left his house to come here. And, I actually went to Stewart first to get the bottle of water and stuff, and I was breaking the logs, I was doing 42 going by the Little League field, the speed limit was 35. And he absolutely blew by me like I was tied. And then he gets down by just past Joel's farm. And guess what he got behind? The tractor and the mower. So guess who caught him? And I was right behind him the whole time. He couldn't go anywhere. So places like that would definitely be beneficial in Northwest Hill and Barbers Pond.
that's what I'm saying.
If we had something that moved around, I think it would definitely be beneficial for people like that.
We just get so many cyclists on 346 during the summer. And it definitely makes me very concerned. And it's just.
The thing that concerns me is there's a lot of kids down through that section. on
Absolutely,
346.
there
There's
are.
a lot of kids down through there, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of kids down there, down by your house.
And they do fly. It's.
That guy was absolutely flying
We
down.
were out there with the lemonade stand and someone stopped and there was another car coming down by the ball field. They passed, so there was like 3 cars going the same direction down towards the corner where the fire department is. It's like so scary.
That's the only update you had, town officials? Do we have anything? Okay, old business discussion and updates.
Start with the ACO mileage discussion.
So the last meeting I had asked about question that the ACO one of his pay stubs didn't get added to the thing. So we were gonna come back to revisit. Tara had put his time sheet in here, because when he did it, that it was 1 of 2 pages, and he was paid for on the page 2 of 2, I believe, the 185. So then the one in question is that page 1 of 2, which was that, the 342. So like I said, I was the one that pushed for him to do the mileage, because like I said, I didn't know what his agreement was with the town. So I just assumed, because if we don't use our budget, it's taken away from us, or you may not get it the following year. You may or may not. So I was the one that pushed him to do the mileage. So my understanding is that the mileage comes from our expense line. And then it was brought up, you know, some discussion about whether we pay people to, you know, come and forth back to their work. So I asked, being that it was last year and that there was money in his budget line for wages and the expense, that this would be paid, and then we could discuss going forward at another time where how mileage and stuff like that goes.
What's the board's pleasure? What are you actually asking, Julie, to pay him?
Yeah, I would like him to be paid the amount on the 628.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
What is the amount?
This one is 342.93.
Is that all of the,
So that was his mileage from January to May.
and that would be everything that he has
Right.
accumulated for that fiscal year?
Well, prior to the one that he was just previously paid for.
Yeah, but that's not, that's a fifth fiscal year, right?
No, what happened was these were sent to Hannah, but she missed one of the sheets. So only one of the sheets got paid. And then Julie was like, well, you missed this one and it's a bigger amount. And then I was like, oh, it is such a bigger amount. I think we need to discuss this just because it was so much mileage. And when we met with Bob first, he wasn't going to claim mileage because he lives in Arlington and there was that conversation. But it is a little confusing, you know, what if he goes to a shelter? Can he claim then? I think so, but that's up to the board to decide. That's why I figured we should bring it back. There is the money to pay this one, but there isn't so much money next.
Well, then, so I think we should pay that 344 and change, whatever it is, Julie. And then I think we should bring Bob in and have a discussion on the mileage, because we don't have money budgeted for mileage necessarily.
Yeah.
And we had, because I agree with exactly what you're saying, Tara. If he has to take a dog to Hudson, and I'm just throwing it out because I just saw Hudson Valley Rescue Center or whatever it's called, then I don't think he should be responsible for that. I think that's a mileage, definite mileage reimbursable charge. Yeah, and I agree with that. So I think we should bring him in and talk to him about that.
Okay, this one and then.
I'll entertain a motion from the board to pay the 344, and what's the change?
That we
It
pay
was 342.93.
342.90.
93
Sorry, I thought it was
for
344.
the mileage for Bob Perry.
That motion?
We have any more discussion? And that comes out of last fiscal year, not
Not this year.
right, fiscal year 26, 27. It's 25, 26. Any more discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
I'm gonna abstain because I was the one that pushed for it. So I'm not gonna vote. This one.
Julie, there is no reason that you can't. I understand what you're saying. Okay, but because you advocate, if you're an advocate for something you believe in, you certainly can vote on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's completely appropriate.
It's not a conflict at all.
Well, I just,
I know, but it's not.
okay. Then I'm okay.
All right. No,
You're good.
thank you.
I'll make him back. He already knows that we're gonna be looking to discuss it, so.
Any more old business?
Oh, yeah. Do you have transfer station stuff or?
I do. So I made, well, I didn't email it, so what I had done, you guys all have a copy of it. So I took Tom's 3 receipts that week, 3 months, April, May, and June. I broke them down on our sheet. I tried to make it easier for us. So I did our sheets. I did each month what everything was. And then, well, May and June was combined because they didn't ZL. So then I took all of the Casella bills, I went each one. So on the front page, or my front page is over, is the combined April, May, where the total gross at the bottom, the income was $18,478. And then on the other next pages, I did the Casella bills separate. So I did an April bill. So then I combined the three things. Like, so I had to learn which one was rental, if we owned them or rented, so I learned that the rentals. So then I gave Carl, the AI stuff, and he broke it down into our packet thing that says the Q4 waste operation. So actually, by the numbers, Tom actually had a profit for that quarter. So I mean, but I, like I said, look at which one was a loss first. Yeah, because he was over on a couple items, then he was lost like 50 cents on one type thing. And a couple of the numbers didn't quite add up to their register. But so if you look at all these papers, without going through a lot, that we actually had a profit. So I know that going forward, that, he already gave me one register's paid. So, and I know because we had asked them not to take this construction and debris, that, I'd be willing to do the next quarter with him so that we can get the numbers for the next quarter. I was trying to make it where it was easier, like, to go by the Casella bill. And then, like I said, I had to ask a lot of questions because I didn't know if it, like, when they weigh, is it gross or net? You know, for that. So it's definitely a lot of learning, but
A lot of information.
it is. I mean, it's taken me time and double checking everything, but obviously, like I said, I went step by step with my numbers. I printed out my tapes and stuff like that. So, and I know,
But how does this anomaly change that potential outcome? The May Casella invoice reflects exactly 0 charges for, unless I do trash disposal and commingling recycling. This indicates missed pickups, deferred billing, or raw data omissions, heavily skewing the Q2 monthly burn rate.
that I do, like I said, I can't answer that.
Right. So that's what I'm wondering is if we have an actual, if this is an accurate figure for May, because it is drastically lower, which then lowers.
So, like his Casella bill for me, though, it was only.
I'm going to assume always does bad things to you, but it's because on the pickups, when the loads were picked up. So the loads were picked up at the end of April and the beginning of June. The majority of them. So you didn't have any pickups in May.
Well, here's like the Casella bill for me. Yeah, like,
Right, it's showing the same thing here. It's here.
so like I said, it's definitely learning. I just, like I said, I took his register tapes. I went through, marked them all down, then I entered them in the computer. I mean, it is a little time consuming, but I figure at least that way you can understand it, and I can tell you how many bags of trash, 13-gallon bags he did. You know what I'm saying? So like if you're,
So you're right. There's a $3,600, almost $3,700 profit for the first 3 quarters or last 3 quarters of that fiscal year. But here's my point. Our C and D, right? And this is what we have said. Our C and D, if I read this right, help me, Carl, because you've been involved in this. We took in 23, 26, 25, you know, right? This is our income sheet, first page, right, Julie?
yeah,
23, 26. To get rid of C and D, in April, it cost us $680 in hauling. I assume that's what the 226.84 is every time. The disposal cost was $14.82. Right, for April alone.
Right.
And the mattresses and sofas were $360. Now, is that included in our income over here? It is not, so we'll take that, we won't even worry about that $360. But we take the $680 and the $14.80. Now we're over $2,000 that it cost us in April to have our C and D. Right? If I'm reading it correctly, and I believe I am, Julie, this is great information. Right? Does that make sense? 680.52 and 14.82, so we're $2,162 that it cost us in April to get rid of our construction debris between the hauling and what we paid disposal. May we paid one haul of $226 and disposal was $412. Okay, so there's another $640, give or take. So now we're at $3,000 for what it cost us for C and D for 2 months out of the quarter. And I'm just asking questions. I think I'm reading this right. Because it's very well detailed. And then in June, we paid $680 and $14.26 again for C and D, our construction debris, and that's what we said we were taking out for the first 3 months. So that's another $2,100. So right now we're over $5,000 to have the C and D for the quarter, and we took in 2,300. So that's 2,700 that we were in the red on C and D for that quarter that you did have compiled all this information. Right? So if we didn't have that C and D in that quarter, we could take the 3,700 and we could add $5,000 to that. Well, no, sorry, 2,700 because we did take in 2,300 on that. So it wasn't 5,000, it was 2,700. So our 3,700 now turns into 6,400.
Julie, is mattresses considered construction debris?
It's not, Carl, and I took
It's-
that out.
It's, oh, do you remember though, when he first said,
Right.
he had the mattresses and stuff just thrown in there.
That's okay.
So, but going forward, he was gonna separate it.
Okay.
Into the expense item.
Okay.
I took
No, I just was wondering,
680 and 1480. I left
because
that out.
I remembered that he had put mattresses on the construction debris
At one time, yeah.
at one time.
Yes, but
I think, and without having time here, I don't want to assume this because bad things happen.
I know.
I think you're gonna find that mattress and sofa stuff expense line goes in the C and D as well. So the savings would even be a little bit greater, not huge, but it's another
2,300 bucks.
45.
so my other question though that I did have, because, and I don't know, so like the 30-yard DNR, that 226, I don't know if that's a rental for for them to come and pick. You know, like,
That's our hauling fee. That's the fee to haul it out.
so like the paper though, that's ridiculous, $610 for
Been saying that.
Europe, but I'm just, so then my question, that I didn't know that the paper goes to Mass. And then our plastic and stuff goes somewhere else. I assumed- Yes, under, I assumed everything went to Bennington. But like I said, I assumed, I don't always have I get, and so then I'm like, I had several questions and I'm like, well, then why are we not hauling it if, you know, I had lots of questions, but like I said, I did the numbers so that at least we could look at it. Do I understand all of it? Absolutely not. Well, I figured at least we had the breakdown of,
Numbers though. What I'm seeing here is, and without having time to digest
right,
the charts and everything that are put out in all the numbers. But what I'm seeing in this right here is by not having the C and D for, if we didn't have it for the month, for that quarter, we saved almost $3,000 or would have saved almost $3,000. Now, there's 4 quarters, so that's 12 grand if it was an average. And I don't know that either, right? But I mean, we don't know until we have data to prove that.
so I'm thinking it's gonna be more than the next quarter because we're not gonna take the construction. We increased like the mattress because they were charging 45, we only charge 40. So technically you did lose on the mattress, but I don't know all the, like I said, I'm still learning. But being that we increased the fees, we're
Well,
not taking the construction, so that's why I offer, I will do it like the next quarter, like this.
one more quarter, so give us
So at
a
least-
handle.
Yes.
But then not to just say that, okay, we lost 100,000 to a,
No,
you know what I mean, just.
well, knowing where we lost it is definitely a
Well, that's
help,
when- Right, so.
right? Knowing where the money went
Yeah.
is definitely a huge
So I
benefit.
figure at least if we're trying to
Mhm.
look at it and that we're not assuming
We are.
that we lost that much money.
That solidifies
And
part of what I said.
and I believe Ellen fixed some that, did she take out, now that she took out the tax?
Yeah, she took out the CWSRF loan out of there because that's not his. It
Right.
just kind of was under there because of that transfer station. And then the SWIP, she was also gonna remove because we would have to pay into the solid waste alliance even if we didn't have a transfer station.
Right. And that's fair.
Yeah.
That's being fair. That should not be,
It moved in the budget to like where BCRC payment goes.
right, so that shouldn't be counted because that, like you said, that would be, the Solid Waste Alliance is definitely whether we have a transfer station or don't have. So that's definite, this is definite concrete numbers that we can actually see and understand and make sense of.
One variable number I can't remember though was the rental. That we rent the dumpsters right now.
We rent the 2 for the
Five.
Compactors, right?
compactors.
And they said we could buy them, just put them into their rotation, we wouldn't pay that anymore, but I can't remember what.
Yeah, I
They said
don't,
they cost.
Yeah.
They're
Also close, we didn't own any of them.
At one point, and then when we
Tried to
proved
tell
it,
us
we
to
did.
move it, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I guess the problem,
Under
it's
10.
gonna be what they're gonna charge us now for.
I think, to buy those dumpsters for the compactors, if I remember, and don't quote me, but I think they were about $8,000 a piece.
Let's say 8,500, I thought.
I think. Right, and then we would need 4.
I think it was only 2.
Well, we had,
Because they use, I know it sounds weird, but when we checked with them, they were like, you put your 2 dumpsters into our rotation.
Exactly,
Like,
I remember
Okay.
that they.
yeah, you might be
they
right.
bring
Yep.
back one of theirs.
Yep.
We might get ours back, we might get somebody else's, but it's just in the rotation.
Mhm.
Which I think they tried to
It's like
say.
66 for the meeting.
Mhm. That's what we said it would be. If we bought them, it was good. I think that's about right. I think you're right, Jamie. I think it was around $6,000 a piece. And we said, buying them would be over 12 grand. And renting it was $6,000.
Or something about recertifying them or every
It was, yeah, I don't.
3 or 5 years.
Mhm.
The rust.
Mhm. Yeah,
It's
some-
just something I thought I could use.
No, that's right.
It's very cost.
Julie, that's great information. It just solidifies some of the things that at least I've been thinking have been happening. And it's, just we're being efficient. And if we have these numbers, we can become more efficient.
so I am gonna share my spreadsheet with him going forward so
Well.
that he can enter his numbers for.
Well, if
this
you can
month.
see it, I'm sure it's much easier for anybody for that matter, if you can see what the spreadsheet says, it's definitely something I can understand here better. And if I can see it, I can understand it, right? Before we just didn't have that ability.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, Joe.
Extremely helpful.
Anything else under old business?
Yeah, more,
That's enough. No.
The Clayton Park thing, I think can be pretty quick. I know Conservation Commission just purchased a picnic table to put down there. That they're gonna chain to a tree, but I don't know if you had a chance to read up and stuff.
No, because with the town hall thing coming this weekend, I figured that she had her hands full, so I figured that I would wait.
That's for the ADA stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And I was gonna reach out to Wendy Hopkins, because she works with Hoorah. So, and that's who we worked with when we took the rafts down the river.
Right.
For that town hall day, when we did it for the fair.
Yep.
So I figured I'd read out, like I said,
Okay.
I have no problem, but I figured with Jen, concentrate on that,
Yep, yeah, this is good.
give her a little bit.
The last, well, not the last one, second to last one, it was Greenagers, they. Sorry, Works and Brackwood, like the contract with Greenagers, began to do the lower 8 loop in the forest. It's 8,000 for the week, but they did a great job the last time, and I really like how they put our local teams to work. I think that was really.
We have a grant for that, right?
Yeah, so it might be covered by the board grant, we still have money in the.
I think it's.
Yeah, it's a great
I think
idea.
that's a no-brainer. I think I'll entertain a motion to put Greenagers to work.
I'll make that motion that we put Greenagers to work again this summer.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
This one was excess weight. I don't know, if I do that today or?
Yes, that's great, there's a lot of information on Vermont.gov. All towns use like the uniform excess weight permit. And the town gets to decide what those special weight limits are. However, those weight limits need to be reported to the DMV each year. It's like a 1400B and 1400C, I think. I don't know if Joel does that currently, but none of it's enforceable unless those forms are filled out with the DMV, whether it's roads or bridges. If a bridge is posted via the DMV, like ours is right now, the Main Street Bridge at 24,000, our excess weight permits don't, you can't, obviously, the excess weight permits don't apply to that. They can apply to bridges and roads. Some towns choose not to, but I don't think it's on our form, maybe it is, I just missed it, but the uniform form has another section that says roads included or roads excluded. And I think I should get together with Joel and we should make those changes to that.
Update our.
Because it sounds like North Pownell Road is no longer gonna be road that's.
I think we have to be a little bit careful with the northbound road, but I think the no through trucks is, I think that we should definitely exclude tractor trailer traffic on northbound road, for sure. I think if we try to exclude a tandem axle dump truck that's working on northbound road that's registered at 69,000, then I think we have limited our, I think we've limited two things. I think we've limited our residents to who they can hire to do a job. That if we limited tandems, then we say, okay, whoever does it has to have a single axle dump truck. And in today's world, not a lot of contractors have a single axle dump truck. Be good for them if we did, because they could get, but it limits that sort of. I also think that it limits our home heating oil. If that's where we have to think that, because not everybody uses a single axle truck that's 34, 35,000. Like John Ray, for instance, uses tandems that are, for the most, they're not exclusive, but for the most part. I know that, I think like HBH or one of those, I don't remember, but one of those propane companies uses pretty much tandems. So I think that's something that's to sit down with the road foreman and talk about those things is definitely way overdue. You know, it's way overdue.
Like, would that be something like local deliveries only?
I think you could probably do that. Carl, I don't know.
Because I've seen that in other.
Yeah, except for local deliveries type thing. or
Except for
whatever.
local
Yeah.
deliveries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or local, yeah, or local workers, something like that, but
Yeah.
I do know that that was one of the roads that was restricted in the past. And after Linda left, it hasn't been done since. So I think it'd be important, like, if we're gonna invite Joel, we should print a list. And say, okay, this is what they used to be at. Should we go back to that, should we not, and just kind of talk about it as a board?
Hmm.
And they do have to be renewed annually, and I know how to do it because I did the bridge, but there are no other restrictions right now for Pownell, it's only that road.
And I think this is great. I think it's a great conversation and I think it's something we should really look into.
Do you think that you would have time, not by our next select board regular meeting, but by the following? So two regular meetings from now to get together with Joel to sort of go over some of that?
Yeah.
And then,
It would be the 27th of August.
no, would it?
Yeah, because we have on the 13th and one the 27th.
Don't say that too soon. It's gonna be here quick.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
oh, I can say it's school season. So if there's.
Before that. So I may be one cranky dude on the 27th.
So what-
Don't make me mad, Julie, on the 27th. Put a little asterisk, no.
Oh, I can do that on my own.
Yeah.
So with the no through truck signs, does that have to be registered with the state? So
I don't know, Julie.
know that they're not allowed. I tell you, I don't know who it is.
You know what excess weight permits, it's not enforceable, I mean, you can have them up, but it's not enforceable unless it's registered with the.
I have to, whoever comes off Skippery Road with that heavy load of gravel or whatever they're removing, I give them credit to come off Skippery and start the incline to come up, because I tell you can hear every gear. And it's like, Jesus, are we gonna make the hill? But the pool truck drives me,
Yeah, I got the guy with the pool truck.
the pool truck and the milk truck, I'm like, ice and milk, not that.
Because it's a shortcut, it's easier than going all the way down and coming all the way back.
346 really
Is
to drive.
horrible,
It's
especially
planted,
from
it's like this.
Cedar Hill down.
Towing on it or.
I was going out today, there was a tractor trailer coming headed towards New York and he had no clue what the road was doing, because I'm gonna assume he's never traveled that road. Next thing you know, he's throwing onto my side of the road. It's like, whoa, dude, get over. Yeah, your house actually,
Yes.
this side of your house.
That's where that dip is, where.
Yeah, threw him across the road. It wasn't that he wasn't paying attention, it threw him across the road. He was cranking, pretty good, but. Any more old business?
I have one. And it's to do with the highway. Because we had, and way back, I don't remember when, but we said that we would visit it in July because we were waiting to see if we were getting a resignation letter or a retired letter from a worker.
Highway, I'm taking roots out, I'm sorry, Julie.
No, the highway department. So whether or not to hire a new replacement, and then I had another record. Is Kenny still on payroll for, like, is he still part-time with the highway? So I don't.
We would be, we haven't signed a check for him. Kenny George?
Yes.
We haven't signed a check for him.
So,
He's per diem.
Yeah, he's still an active employee, but we're not.
yeah, well, that's so, because I know that,
In the highway position that was 80 going to be.
well, that's why.
We haven't heard from the possible retiree that he's definitely retired. However, we've had 4 applicants. I called them all today to try to set up an interview next week with Joel and myself, and then I think the process would be to bring a recommendation to the board after that. So we're gonna just kind of frame it as we expect to be able to give you benefits, but we can't promise them at a certain time because I just can't guarantee that that person's gonna decide to retire.
I think that's a great way to handle it. I think,
And I'm not pushing the people.
No, I know that.
higher.
no,
I-
no, I get it.
It's been a question.
Can I have a timeline on that at all?
So when I met with him, he basically was like, well, I was gonna call in September, but you really need to call a few months ahead to start the process. It takes a few months. So I found all of the information and the contact number and I sent it to his home address, hopefully, so he would get that process started, but again, that's his choice, it's not something that any of us could do for him.
Is that what answered your question?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was just curious.
Yep. Any more old business?
Oh, that's all. Oh, not-
Where are we at with the, option tax, local option?
We're waiting until after the.
We're waiting till after they're having to, educate on the seminar.
That's right.
August.
That's right. I apologize. You said that last, yep, you said that last time. I'm sorry, Tara.
It is.
I totally forgot that.
Their husbands, I think it's a
New business.
scorpion, it's a thing. I
Wow.
don't know, my,
It's pleasantly.
Well, I'm just waiting if somebody's
No,
got
I got it.
something.
We can have.
No new business for a couple weeks.
No business.
I'm good with no new business
have
for a
enough.
couple weeks, because we should need to get caught up on some of the stuff that we're working.
I put, wait.
And I mean, honestly, I think that not having any new business for a couple of meetings, unless it's an important thing right now, I think that, I think there's been some tension going on, right? And I think because we've been under some pressure, everyone, board members and town employees and different things. So I think not having new business for a couple of weeks where we can all take a breather and get caught up and move forward, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing, just to, everybody can step back, take a deep breath, get caught up on their work,
Yeah.
And not have-
Budget time.
not have all that pressure. So I think it's a good thing. Okay, public comment. No hands up for public comment?
Okay.
Okay. I will entertain a motion for a proposed executive session. It is an executive session, not proposed, for contractual to discuss the sheriff's department.
I'll move that we go into executive session for contractual reasons to discuss the sheriff's department contract.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Are we live streaming as well? Okay. I'll entertain a motion to come out of executive session for the sheriff's department.
I'll make that motion.
Second that motion?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Do we have possible action?
I'm just trying to think in my brain.
Do we have a motion? I'll entertain a motion.
Go ahead.
Yeah, all right, so I'll make the motion that the select board, the town of Pownell has made the decision, will make the decision to not renew the sheriff's contract for this coming fiscal year.
I'll second that motion.
Do we have any discussion? Why?
I only had just a quick question. Did we vote?
Not yet.
No, not vote like on this part, but was it a voted ballot?
No, it was not.
No.
It was just like-
It was on the ballot, but it's not a ballot issue, it's like an advisory ballot.
Correct.
Okay,
Similar to the town administrator, I believe.
yeah, I just.
Yep, no, good question. I have a couple of things that I want to point out here. Under discussion is that this is not in any way, shape or form a reflection of the officers who have worked down here. In the past year, they've been nothing but outstanding professional in the way they've handled situations within the town. It basically is boils down to a financial situation, for the town. And I can't I can't strengthen enough of the fact of the officers who work down here under Sheriff Gully, how professional and caring of the town that they actually were.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. And I also think that, I know that we've all seen comments and there's been coverage of this. And I do think it's important to speak to some of the concern that I have seen. And that is our like residents, our neighbors have concern that they'll be left without any sort of law enforcement in the town, and that simply isn't correct. I think we need to be clear about that. Vermont State Police provide us with coverage just over 85% of the time. The sheriff's department was that auxiliary pickup coverage, which was about 15% of the time. This doesn't mean that we would have a void if we vote to do this, to end this contract for this fiscal year. It doesn't mean that we won't have coverage for that extra 15% of the time. It means that we will, as other towns have chosen to do, rely on the Vermont State Police, which is who provides us with coverage most of the time. And I agree with you, Mike, that we have some very serious financial considerations, which were discussed tonight. We have a bridge that we have to find ways to pay for. We have an EMS service that is struggling. And I know for me, when I'm trying to think about where are our lives being saved in Pownell, EMS and fire, we have to have bridges. So my thoughts.
Any more discussion? I have a motion, I have a second. Terminate or not renew the sheriff's contract for fiscal year 26-27. And I believe we can certainly reach out to the sheriff's department to try to contract with them for the next fiscal year. And I hope he would receive that request and see what we can do again. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We have an executive for personnel.
Yes, I had a question, but,
Um,
to go on, yeah, for the personnel.
okay. I'll entertain a motion for executive for personnel.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll entertain a motion to come out of executive for personnel.
I'll move to come out of executive for personnel.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone, for attending.
Right.